Yep, he built the first SJS. That's SJS number 1.
So your uncle David was
Yes.
was one of the builders.
Mm-hmm.
Was he a student at the time, or he was? He wasn't a student at the time, was he, at SJ?
I think he was, yes.
Oh, okay. So did your father go to SJ?
He never mentioned it. No, he never mentioned it. No, he didn't, because he told me he only went to the 3rd grade.
Wow. But your uncle did go
Yes,
to
I think
SJ?
he did, yes.
Okay. And then also, I guess I should for the recording today.
Are all these the same?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So today is March 3rd, 2009, and I'm speaking to Glenn Howard at 602 Merrill. And yeah, and then so what what year were you born?
1934.
1934. So do you remember boats built that? So you grew up in that house on Catley Street?
I helped my father with planking on the trawler Gota that he built and designed. And I also helped him with the planking work on the Jenny that's now owned by Alan Morin. It's still here in town.
It's in town. Okay.
Trawler Jenny.
And who is the owner?
Alan Morin.
Oh, okay. So, okay. So your family lived right next to the boat shop?
Yes. Yes, we did.
How many siblings were you? 11?
16 of us.
16?
Yes.
Wow. 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 So, and you all lived in that tiny house?
Yes.
Wow. So how many of your siblings are still alive?
There's 9 of us alive now.
Wow.
5 sisters and 4 brothers.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So where are you? Where are you in the?
I'm the 3rd from the oldest.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow. I should have been more prepared. But your brother George told me that your father was ill with tuberculosis.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was in his early 50s. That's when they had Mount Edgecombe Hospital as a place for most, or I should say all of Alaska, tuberculosis cases.
Mm-hmm.
It came there, and I was just a young man when I was working in there.
Oh, you worked at the hospital?
Yes, I was working in the kitchen. You know, so you always had to wear a gown and everything when you were doing all the tuberculosis cases, dishes.
Uh-huh. And then, so what year, so that was the early 50s when you worked over there?
Yes, it was. It had been around 54. Maybe 1955.
So was your father a patient over there at times, or?
For a short while.
Mm-hmm.
And we helped him break out of Ellis Island.
Oh, so that was before they built the hospital.
Yes.
Oh, I've heard that was substandard. Yeah. That first place. Wow. So you got him and left?
Yes. No, he wanted us over there at a specific time, like 6:30 at night, and it was November, I believe, something like that, when it was dark. And then I think it was my younger brother Louis and I went over there in a skiff and parked on the beach and waited for him to get dressed, and then we helped him down into the skiff, took him home.
Wow. So it was and he didn't want to be there.
No.
Didn't feel like it was a good.
No, and then he ended up in the hospital. Search. Like I said, I can't remember too much because of my heart attack 13 years ago, and it's kind of blanked my mind on some things.
Oh, sure.
So, 53, I was married, and had been 50, early 50s, not 55 or something like that.
When that incident happened.
Yes. When we broke him out, or when he got out of the hospital. When we took him out, let me rephrase that.
And then later he went back to the hospital.
This time he didn't come out, and I think it was his heart that gave out. I was 20 years old at the time. Yeah.
When he passed away.
Yes.
Yeah. So was your uncle, did he build boats also at the shop? No, he never did?
No, he didn't. He was involved with the A and B a lot.
Oh.
So he helped my dad once in a while. Rarely remember him being in the boathouse.
Did the TB, that must have interfered with your father's?
He didn't have any more boats. The last boat he built was the Gota. And no, he didn't have any more lined up after that.
And the Jenny was before the
Yes,
Gota?
That one was. Yes, that was before.
And so your dad was the main builder on both of those?
Yes.
And
and he also built a 48-foot boat seine boat called the June K for Charlie Bennett in Angoon.
So a 48-foot seine boat?
48.
So, how, where? So your dad designed all those boats?
Yes, most of them, yes.
So did he draw plans?
No, what he did is he carved it out on a piece of red cedar, like a toy, half a boat. Then he took his dimensions from that and made the boat.
Okay.
So he knew what the bottom was going to look like when his framework went down.
Okay. And then where did he get materials? Like what kind of wood?
Most of those were got from out of town because you always had to wait for we called it back then steamboats. It was the freighters coming in.
So you'd get wood from south?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because it had to be clear fir and gumwood, bough stems. We used some yellow cedar for the horseshoe sterns. And, I only remember one bow stem being made of yellow cedar.
What?
That I was the one with the ads on it when I was a boy.
No kidding. So that was just I mean, that seems like a pretty skilled job for.
Yes, when I came home from school, he'd have it roughed out for me, and then he'd tell me he'd want it like this, with no chips on it. You know, but he had that adze really sharp, so it was easy for me to follow his lines, and he gave me I think it was a tri-square all set up, and all I had to do was just put it on there, both front and back, and see if I was on. There were no bumps and lumps in what I was doing.
Wow, so how old would you have been?
10, I think. Started with him, working with him when I was 10 years old.
So, because it sounds like he wanted to pass on the skills to you?
Yes. I think he had all kind of good reasons for it, because I know I was over on the military base with him on Japonska Island, taking a short boat over there with him, and getting frisked by the SPs and MPs, that when you came up the ramp, that they found a pocket knife on you, they took it away. But that was what I used for cutting oakum, and I never got my knife back.
So you were also caulking the boats?
Yes, helping my dad on barges and things like that for the Navy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, so you were just a kid, and you'd go over there, and so your father and you were employed by the Navy to...
Yes, he taught all of his brothers how to build boats, and I think there was only 3 of us that hung on to it, and that was my brother Louis, my brother George, and myself. My brother George and I were the only ones that built boats.
Wow. So you built a couple of boats, or?
Oh, I built 16 plywood boats.
You built 6 boats?
Plywood skips. Yes.
To sell or to?
I've got pictures of it up there. Would you care to see them?
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There it is,
Neat.
and that's where that was where it was built.
That's a great picture. Wow, I would love to make a copy of that.
You're more than welcome to take it, because I have one big one on the wall over there.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's great. And so is this your house?
Our house is on the other side.
Oh, okay. So
excuse me one moment.
Sure.
I'll show you a drawing that was given to me by Ellen Hope, and this is a lot clearer. There's the picture.
Oh, okay.
See, there's where we lived.
Okay.
That little shack there is the boiler room for the steaming the planks.
Sure. And so that's where you built this. You have a picture of the Sea Scout?
Yes.
So was this boat built for yourself?
Yes. All by hand. Never used a power tool one.
So did you have power tools available, or?
Yes, then, but I always felt my arms and hands and eyes I could cut right on the line by hand.
With a handsaw?
Yes.
And you preferred that?
Yes.
So did you have a skill saw or band saw available?
Yes, we had it all. We had table saws, band saw. There was a 7-foot one, and a planer. Yeah, yes, we had it all.
What became of the machinery?
It all got destroyed with the boathouse after I sold it.
Oh.
Had it sold. And Here's a picture of a 34-foot boat I was building. That's my daughter on there.
A 34-foot?
Yes. And here I am standing on the bridge of it when it was being built.
Wow. Is this boat still around?
No, when I sold it, no, they didn't take care of it.
Uh-huh. Wow, that looks so a 34-foot boat. And so is it a pleasure boat or was it a pleasure boat or a fishing boat?
I used it as a fishing boat.
Uh-huh. So what year was that?
77, 78.
And so this was, so you were working for the city then, or?
I didn't get a job until I left the mill, and that's when I had the time to do this.
Huh.
And then it took me 6 months to get that far building it.
Wow. I mean, that seems pretty fast.
I was building there too. That's why you see the tarp, because the ceiling was leaking. See that?
Oh, yeah.
Here's another one I built. That one was 25 foot.
The one here on the right?
Yes, right there.
Wow. So these were...
Here's when I was finishing it.
Okay. Well, these are nice boats. So what year did you build this one? This is a 20...
same one is right here, and
okay.
I think it's not on the picture, huh?
Oh, let's see here.
60.
So the processing date is August of 1971.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be 7. That'll be about right. So here's...
And that was a 25-foot?
Yeah. There's a better picture of the other one, so you can see where I was at on it.
Wow. So you built this one when you were between jobs, between working?
Yes. Yeah.
And then, so when you were working for the mill, when you built this boat?
Yes. Yes, I was.
So just working weekends and, or?
It was after dinner, and I made a boat widow out of my wife. If you can believe that. I'd come home at 11 at night, 10:30, and I always knew what the next piece of wood is going to look like when I went to work on it the next day.
So, so these are plywood hulls? Yes. And are they to your own design, or did you get a design?
I think that one was a design. This one was supposed to be a double-end bartender, and I couldn't get it to bend on the back, so I put a horseshoe stern on it.
I see. So you were designing it as you went.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. And
I built 4 of these. I used to build 4 of those things in 4 hours, but by the time they were painted, it would be 8 hours.
Wow, so this is a picture of a, so does it have a little square?
Those are 8-foot punts.
Okay, so it has a little square.
That's out of a quarter-inch plywood. It was a piece of cake working on those to me.
Wow. So it's an 8-foot punt, and you could build one in 4 hours?
Yes.
Is this your daughter? Or?
Yes, it is.
What a cutie. Oh my gosh.
I like doing things with my hands and looking back at it with my eyes and knowing I did it with my mind.
These are great. So you built this also in the boat shop?
Yes, in between things. I built some for some friends. Didn't charge them for it. They just bought the plywood and I'd fix it.
Wow. No, that's great. And so you built a 25-foot boat,
34
and a 34-foot boat, and then several of the
4 of these, I think, 4 or 5 of these.
And you were saying you built 6 of the 16-foot.
Yes.
So is that, and this again was your own design? That was the airplane
float, as you can see. A building here. Conway Docks over here.
Oh, this is your building? Or
yes,
okay.
STA.
Oh, okay. This picture of the Sea Scout is in front of the airplane float. So it's where Bellows is now, or?
That's an airplane float now.
Okay.
That's where I used to park it.
So you used to keep it on the airplane float?
At the airplane float, yes. That was before they made it an airplane float. All the fishing boats, your seine boats, and mostly seine boats would be there.
And just use it for parking.
They all moored there, you know.
Wow. And so, and all these boats were built in the boat shop?
Yes.
And so, so where you were living somewhere else then, or were you living at the house?
Oh
there?
No, I was living up in a house over here, away from my family, when I started building these 16-footers. There used to be a gray house down there, almost little cattywampus from Sitka Sound Seafoods.
Uphill?
Yeah, right there on the road, Catleon Street.
Oh, okay.
That's where I just got married and was just showing my wife what I could build.
So you could just walk down the street
yes.
and work and
yes.
come home. Wow.
And I hung up my carpenter pants in the boathouse and left it there.
Oh, so when was the last time you worked in there in the shop or in the boat shop?
Oh, I built other cabins on other little boats, 30-foot boats, and on down and put transoms on 18-foot boats, put them on a weekend, and then they could take it out on a Monday or Tuesday when they got done painting it.
So you were doing repair work?
Yes.
For people?
A little
modifications?
Yeah, but I found out it was hard to get the money from some guys, so I almost had to. Yeah, so I got out of it. Now I just do it because if a friend asks me and needs some help, and then I'll come and help with a cabin work or something like that.
Sure.
I won't do it for money. I just feel like with some people, what goes out comes round back to you.
Yes.
And I just feel that way, So I don't mind so much. I'd like to see them when they're smiling, what they're doing.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out what I'm thinking.
Yeah. Wow. So this is a list of.
This is just a list of the boats that my dad built: the Gota, the Jenny, the June K, Princeton Hall, and he repaired several boats too. And this was a seine boat called the OK, and we put in a few planks and a bow stem on it. And he did some work on Kermit Olsen's boat, and I remember seeing Kermit Olsen in our boathouse, and he had a boat. Talking to my younger brother Louis in Hilo, and he said it was. He remembers the trawler having a wolf on the flying bridge, but we both can't remember the name.
Oh, okay.
We were small boys then. And then he did some work for a guy by the name of Tommie Jackson on a troller. I helped my dad with that. It was the old style, just like this. And we put a flare on that troller.
Oh.
Yeah, as I remember us putting bolts through the ribs and jacking it out and holding it on the bottom with the ready rods. And they were, I'd almost say 10 feet through.
10 foot long.
Yes, by 1
rod.
inch.
Wow.
Yeah, so that you can crank them out from the inside and hold them from the outside. And then when you got done, you had a beautiful flare on the boat.
I see. And then, so you'd have to take the planks off and then put on new planks.
Put new ribs in and reform them. Then we put a new bow stem on that guy's boat, Tommie Jackson.
So, and that was when you were still in high school, or?
That might have been the last job on Tommie Jackson when I was 17, and it was because I was trying to keep up with my dad at 17, and that was pretty good. And caulking his boats, you know, the seams.
Right.
And he would light his Camel cigarettes and say to me, hurry up, the tide's coming in, you're a long way behind me, and I'd be 3 seams behind what he was going on.
So even with being ill and smoking, he's still... You must have, Yes.
I remember my shoulders and arms hurting from using the mallet.
Wow.
Walking behind, trying to hurry up with him.
So your father did.
I don't even remember the name of Tommie Jackson's troller. Then he rebuilt. I know this guy. We knew him. He had. It was called the Triways Marine, and I can't remember what it was named before. Stockton Webb had it. I think he was the original owner. It used to be down there by the city float. I mean the city grid. Between that, my auntie's house and the city grid. There used to be a machine shop called Louis Jensen's. That was a little gray building there, and there was a float going down there, and that's where they had a outboard. Outboard repair place, you know, for outboard motors. And I remember the reason I wrote this down here as Stockton Webb is because my dad took it right down to, it was a cruiser. I think it was a 46-foot cruiser. And wood cruiser, and he took it right down to the keel in Kielson. And left that. That was the lot, and then he rebuilt it all back up. So and I was just a little kid. I'd come home maybe 8 or 9 years old, and I remember coming home and having to go to work out there by pounding nails out of wood or something, and the guys used to put pennies in between the ribs and made for me to pick up, and I would always think I found money in there.
What's that?
They always put pennies in between the ribs, you know, and tell me to go clean it up or something. And then I'd find the pennies, and I never did understand why they were always smiling at me. You know, they're kind of going to catch on that they put the pennies there for me to find.
Wow.
There was about 3 guys helping my dad do that boat. And he built twin 27-foot cruisers at the same time at the boathouse. One was called the Lucky Lady out of plank.
The Lucky Lady?
Lucky Lady. And the other one was called Danny Boy for my uncle Bill Thomas.
So he built 2 boats side by
cruisers,
side? Wow.
Cabin cruisers.
Wow. How how did you launch boats? Like, how would you launch two boats?
We had the grid in here, the skid we called it.
Uh-huh.
And this skid came out through the back of the shop, and it was on piling. And they had 12 by 12 on those, and they kept them greased up with real thick grease, and the cradle, that's what it was called. The cradle sat in there with some wood on it, and they were 12 by 12s. Yeah, 12 by 12. All built out of 12 by 12. That's how he launched the boat. The cradle sat from in here to about here. So the boathouse is, I'm thinking, close to, if not 80 feet long, close to it, because when they built the Princeton Hall, it was sticking out 6 feet past the boathouse.
So the Princeton Hall stuck out.
65-foot boat then.
And so did you? And you know what? I just well, it was on the Alaska State Museum site, but I'm almost certain that that's your shop and that's the Princeton Hall.
Sure looks like it. Looking at that window is right here. See it?
Sure. And it looks like you were saying, it's sticking out. It looks like that's where they added on.
Roy Bailey helped on that.
So were you involved in the Princeton Hall?
Not as much as, because this was built just as I turned 10. So that was 1944, because I was born in 34.
It was actually launched, because it was launched because that's part of the story, is launched right around Pearl Harbor.
Yes.
So you would have been really.
I was just a young guy. My brother Louis remembers. He said Herman Kitka pulled the boat out of the boathouse on the cradle.
Like with another boat?
Yes. Out here in the water. And it was a big deal. It was late in the afternoon. Yep, late in the afternoon. And Roy Bailey tells me the Navy was right there to pick it up as soon as it came out of the boathouse. But it does look like our boat shop, yes. I could recognize it by the windows. And that doorway is for when we were working on boats on this side. And we had another grid? Yeah, grid on this other side.
So there were grids on both sides?
Yes. So there were times you had boats on both sides. You can see the window there. And that's that one.
Oh, yeah.
Or the doorway, either one. Oh, yes, here's our beams. I remember these. See, they're 12 by 12s.
Uh-huh. So that's holding up the building?
Yep.
But you'd use them for...
Yep, and the cradle is right underneath here. Wow. And you had 2 by 6, the full 2, maybe 3 by 6 across here. For braces, too. I remember for putting his lumber on and pulling them down as he needed them.
Oh, okay. So they were part of the building, but you used them to store...
on both sides. You can see
lumber
it right on this side somewhere. You know that you can see it here. See that?
Mm-hmm.
That's where he put all the lumber. Some of it out of the way, because your main side with all your vice were on this side for wood vices.
Oh, the clamps?
Yeah.
Or?
Yes, and they were made out of pipe and you'd use. Then you screw them in, and then that's how, when I was 10 years old, I used to have to put the bevel
on the planks.
Yes, after school, I'd come home and he'd make me do that.
Wow.
And he always had to have the bevel just right so that the caulking cotton can get in there just right.
Wow. So you said earlier that your father probably had a few reasons for teaching you boys the boat building.
I think he always wanted and hoped that somebody would follow his footsteps in loving to build boats. And knowing that you can do it, you know. So everything I've done was just all plywood work. I always wished he'd have showed me how to do the plank work. I would have loved to do in that, you know, just to know that. You know, he didn't finish the 3rd grade. I never finished the 8th.
Oh.
So I felt like we had something in common. You know?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so last summer I built a cabin out here on a 17-foot little cruiser.
Last summer?
Yes.
Great.
Yes, Terry across the street watched me build it.
Oh, you did it here in your yard? Oh, that's great.
Yes, I built several little cabins on, like I said, on several boats from 30 foot on down, you know, and some guys reminded me of it. They have things I forgot. I did it because they were my friends, and I had a guy come up from Bellingham last summer to visit here for a week or 10 days, excuse me. And he reminded me that 40 years ago I built a cabin on his boat and made it look like a boat.
Yeah. That's a talent.
Yes, it can be at times. You know. From what you see, you'd say whether it was ugly things. And then you want to design something that's going to be stronger than what was put on by the factory, and that's one thing our dad showed us how to do it.
So your father loved building boats?
Yes.
And so it wasn't just a way to earn money, it was...
Yes. And my Uncle Andrew Hope built a boat called the Patricia May. That got run over by a barge up in Chatham Straits, and John Young was the owner, and he went down with the vessel, and a guy by the name of Menkinen went down with the boat, and there was one survivor on the beach that they picked up.
So how...
And then he built the Empress, a boat called seine boat. These are seine boats. The Empress. That one was Charlie Daniels Sr.'s boat.
Okay.
And there's now the Martha Kay.
Okay.
And then he built the Laverne II. And that was owned by Richard Peters.
Okay. I've been on that boat.
Yes, Simon had it for a while.
Yeah.
And it's back down in Seattle.
Oh, the boat is in Seattle now. Oh, that's great.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And then he built the SJS II.
So, and then where were these boats built?
The SJS second, I understand, is down either in Puget Sound somewhere or Seattle. So is the Laverne second.
Oh, that's neat.
So my dad's boat, the Jenny and the Gota, are both still here. You've seen the Gota down at the A and B dock.
Okay. Yeah.
Green Hall. Still beautiful plank work on it.
Yeah, and pretty lines. Yeah.
Yes.
And so your dad's boats obviously were built in the shop, right?
Yes, he had some help, and I seen my Uncle Andrew Hope come down a couple of times there, because he was busy building a boat, I think, at the time. It might have been the Empress, yes. It might have been the Empress he was building when the Princeton Hall was being built.
Okay. And then, so Andrew Hope built all the, the Patricia May, the Empress, Laverne second, and the SJS second in his shop?
Yes.
So did he ever build boats in your family's shop?
No.
Or?
Because he had his boathouse up there next to the airplane float.
Okay.
But he did some repairs on those two that I've seen there.
Do you remember Scott?
Yeah,
yeah.
We got some both, excuse me. It's pretty well black right now. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, not at all.
I'll get you the coffee, excuse me.
Oh, thanks. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Excuse me a minute. Do you remember Scotty Jennings?
Who?
Scotty Jennings.
I knew a Scotty James.
No, it was somebody I guess he was a boat builder sometimes who had a shop somewhere there by the A&B Hall. But
no, I don't. But like I say, after that heart attack, there's some things I just can't bring back, because I had a massive heart attack. So it's just blank.
And I don't think he, was building boats, but it's just
He might have repaired boats there. I don't ever remember seeing a boat built, because they're along by the A&B and the parking lot in that area was cold storage and beach plumbing, the marine supply, and then the A&B dock, and the A&B. Mark Wriggling had a machine shop there somewhere. And it seems to me like there was a big building there that could have been that boathouse that you were talking about, but I never seen any activity there.
Yeah, or what I heard was that it was a hand-packed cannery that was converted to a boat shop, and maybe it was, yeah. Yeah. So I don't. So they're probably. I don't think there was, boat building going on in it, but. Oh, and then also your father was a fisherman?
Yes. Yes. I started fishing with him when I was. It's one of the biggest reasons I didn't finish school was because I started fishing with him when I was 12, 13 years old. Started halibut fishing.
And that's in the...
That always started the 1st of May through the last of May, so you never got a chance to finish school. So by the time I was repeating it, the 8th grade, the 3rd time, I just quit altogether.
Yeah.
I said, there's no need of doing it if we're going to go fishing every year on the 1st of May.
Okay.
Of course, I didn't like school anyway.
Yeah. Where did you go to school?
Down here at the public school, 7th grade on. I went from the 1st to the 6th down in the village there called it was right there where the Nakahiti building is.
Okay.
That's where I went to school with a bunch of us. Went to school there, Red Hole, a whole bunch of us until we were allowed to come into public schools. Then we moved there up to the public schools. And like I say, I just had to quit because of going fishing so much with Dad and then having to help him work on boats at times. Yes, we seined and halibut fished.
So was that long lining like the same as now?
No,
or you set
quite
down
a bit different. You worked. It was all right here. Nowadays you got hydraulic everything, and back then they were just starting out.
Oh.
And as everything in when things are progressing in life, then they just first few of them are kind of lemons, until it's corrected and find out things. And
you mean the hydraulics?
Block, there was no such thing as power blocks until I'm thinking. Let's see. I went sailing when I was 16 years old. That'd be 1949. 15 years old. Yep. And there was no such thing as power blocks. So power blocks, I'm thinking, came out in 1952. So it was all turntable stuff. You put your seine. Oh, excuse me. This was our boat.
The family boat?
That was our seine boat. I took that picture when I was 17. And there's your turntable. See it on top of the deck back there and the seine on it? This is coming through the keyhole from Necker Bay. We didn't have a fathometer. We didn't have a VHF radio. Didn't even have a compass, and we'd be so far out there halibut fishing. You'd be amongst the albatross.
So you were in another boat, or
my dad built a power skiff, and that's what I took this picture in. And it's loaded with sockeyes.
So there was a commercial fishery at Necker Bay?
I'm thinking there was something like 42,000, but your Necker Bay sockeye are only 2.5 pounds a piece, so yeah.
That's a lot of...
Yeah.
So that wasn't a problem? It looks like you're in the water up to the level of the deck.
You can see my one brother either mending the seine or pumping the boat there, and then I think that's my older brother, my younger brother, and my dad.
So your crew was just the oldest boys?
Yes.
Wow.
That's when we halibut fished down too, and We did some extensive work on this. Seemed like we did the bow stem. We put the new bull rail on. We cut the guard. The guard used to come up to here because it's such an old boat. And then we cut the guard down to there. And then and it had a canvas fly bridge, and we put a plywood one on there, and put the windbreakers on, and just modified the boat a little.
What year would this have been?
That had to have been in the early 50s. Yep, had to be.
So before your family had a hydraulic power block.
Do we know such thing?
Yeah, nobody did.
Everything was chain driven, and it never worked. Your chain would always break or stretch because it's going so fast. As fast as the engine would wind up, that's how fast your winch would go.
Oh, so there's no reduction gear or whatever to...
Yeah, not like now, it's hydraulic and you can...
adjust the speed. So you'd haul in the net of fish with just hand over hand?
And it was 275 fathom seine.
Wow.
Yes, and when we used to fish up around Snitson with it, we used to make what they called hook-offs, and those are letting all of the seine now. I mean, we used to make 14 sets a day.
Wow. Wow.
And then when we were halibut fishing, there was times when we were out 40 fathoms out and our gurdy would break. You'd have to pull it by hand, your gear by hand, and 12, 15-foot swells. Take your turn at it 45 minutes at a time.
Wow. So even without, but your gurdy was still a hand cranked thing, or
no, it was
or chains off the engine?
Oh, it was on a sprocket on a chain,
okay.
And the smaller sprocket was on the top, I think, to make that gurdy turn this way. And the sprocket came up and onto a shaft that went into it and down. And we had one on a winch with a sprocket and chain to go on, and that's how you hooked up your gurdy.
Okay.
And it sat on top of the winch. But that didn't always work. We were lucky we didn't have to. There were times when we were out in, I believe it's 85 fathoms of water, where could have been more. Because you only land you saw for 11 days at a time. We were out there for 11 days at a time. Each trip, you made 3 trips. See? Yeah. And the only land you saw was the very tip of Mount Edgecombe and the very tip of Mount St. Elias, and that's the only land you saw for 11 days.
Wow. Is that fishing halibut?
Yes, fishing halibut. That was from the 1st of May through, and sometimes you'd see snow out there on your deck when you'd get up.
Wow. Where did your father learn how to build boats?
From his father, I think.
Okay.
The picture you had here might have been from his father. I'm not sure, but I know that him and Pete Simpson used to come down and visit. He was our grandfather, and he used to come down and visit and talk with my dad a lot. But it seems to me like I remember my dad talking about his father.
And teaching him.
Yes.
And I had another picture of going way back. Yeah, I should share these with you. That's just a picture of Sitka from 4th of July, 1928.
Wow.
And that's when you really need a magnifying glass to.
There's the old cold storage.
Yeah. And a lot of boats in town.
There's that building you're talking about.
Yeah, it's hard for me to tell. I was thinking about, like at our program, maybe enlarging that section and seeing if, because there's some pictures you can see a boat on a grid.
Mm-hmm. To me, it looks like there is one right here.
Yeah, and so I don't know if that's the same, as the shop.
Look my grandson up down at Harry Racing happened, telling me your grandfather told me to talk to you about getting this blown up.
Okay, actually, I've got this on my computer, and I can.
Oh, okay.
I got the.
He blows them up, and he can bring them up because that's what he does for Harry Race. Adam.
Okay.
Works in the photo department down there.
Great. Yeah. Yeah, I've got that fancy computer program too.
Oh.
And that's
Yes, I know that one.
So is that where when you?
There's the Empress. Yep, this was built by him, is right, and that was when. Now you can look at it and remember that this is the Martha K. Now you're looking at, with the exception of this thing on it. This is the A and B hall. Oh, and there's that boathouse you're
building
talking
again.
about. Yeah, that was my uncle Charlie Daniels boat.
Yeah, and you'll have to
there's
correct if I have bad
that's
information.
The one my dad built right there. Oh, Chubby Johnson's boat. There used to be twin ships like this, boats like this.
Oh.
One was a WRJ, and I forgot what the other one was. Chubby Johnson, though, I know him real well. Used to know him. Worked on the log for me for a few years.
Oh, at the mill?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And this is a.
I recognize the background.
So I wonder where that is, like what shop that would be.
That is Andrew Hope there. On the bounce, huh?
Because it didn't match up.
It almost looks like it's across here. See? The cove.
Oh, yeah. So pretty far. Maybe I should see if it matches up with that.
See, there's the cove.
Yeah.
And that's where that is.
Okay.
So this must be an earlier picture than what was there.
Oh, yeah.
And this one here, my dad built in 18 months.
Wow.
He was working 18 hours a day on it. Because the guy wanted to go fishing.
Wow.
This one here was named after June Pegues. June. That was Charlie Benson's daughter. She lives in Juneau now.
Oh, that's neat.
Pegues is her last name.
Okay.
She'll remember a lot of it. She went to Sheldon Jackson too.
That's from, I don't know, the teens. It's one of those pictures they have blown up at the Totem Square Inn, or Merrill photo.
Well, you're up to par on a lot of this.
Or it was 20 years ago, but I spent a few months looking at old lists. So, and that's where Allen Marine is now.
Yep, I remember that.
You remember that operation?
Not very well. There's no vehicles were around, so that was a long way out from our boathouse to there when you're hooping it. Yeah, the Chubby Johnson's old boat. There's Martha K. Now, if you took this picture and put it by the Empress, you'd see that that's the same boat. You can see by her window, and then you look back here.
It's the same wheelhouse.
The very same thing.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. Oh, sure.
The only thing they did is put 2 portholes on the other side where the bunks are.
Oh, nice touch.
That's where the bunks are. That's why it's like that. The door is here, so they wouldn't have 2 here.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
Way before my time.
And then
I know where that is. That's the boathouse.
The Peter Simpson's. Yeah.
Yep.
And see,
yep,
that's.
I remember that.
Yeah, see, those are the only pictures when they were, taking it down. So.
Yep.
So if I could make a copy of this one, showing the whole building still there.
Yes, you can pick that and have it. If you want, have it.
I can scan it.
Yep, and put it in here. As I remember when this was being built, I lost a cousin because they had folding glass doors here.
Folding glass doors.
And those doors fell over on him, and it was Rudy Daniels, my cousin. He was an older guy, and it crushed his ribs, his hips, and wasn't too long after that he passed away. Maybe a year and a half after that he passed away. Charlie Daniels, now brother.
Oh, so what was his name?
Rudy.
And he
Daniels.
When the building was being torn down.
Yes. No, this was when it was being built.
When it was being built?
Yes. That's our house right there next door.
So you remember when this shop was built?
This was built in 39, I think, 38, 39.
Wow. So what were the glass doors for?
For folding it, bringing in material.
Wow. So did they?
Yes, they were folded. I remember that. They were on trolleys.
And they fell over onto him.
Yes, they were still folded up. Both houses, just framework.
Right.
And just starting to be built. So, the doors, they stacked almost straight up and down, and it fell over on them. We were kids playing around with my uncles and my dad and Peter Squiro, I believe, and Jimmy Walton were all helping my dad build the boathouse.
Wow. So how old was he, your cousin? So how old was he?
Oh boy, he had to be about, I'm thinking 10 years old, 11 years old, somewhere in there.
Oh, how horrible.
When it happened, because I was still a boy.
Mm-hmm.
And we were all playing, running around on top of the woods, and it fell over on him. And I remember him screaming, and that's all I remember. And scared to death after that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, seeing it like that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, John Young, okay.
And a lot of this information I got from, some I got from Herman Kitka, and then some is from, the merchant vessels, the lists of.
Yeah, that's the way ours was until we put that fly bridge on. And that's the way our guards were too, until we cut them back to here on the mist.
So what makes the difference, like having the guards go all the way up? And
when you're in rough water, these tend to beat you to pieces.
Oh.
When you're fitting, then it shakes the whole bow.
Oh, okay. So the waves catch on it.
Yeah. So when they stop you from going down.
Okay.
And this, when they're back here, then they ride a little easier.
Okay.
and you can still keep yourself protected from your docks and floats.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
So that boat was completely rebuilt in the 7 days.
Yeah, and that used to belong to Eric Swanson.
Oh, okay.
He used to own that too. Wow. Oh, and he also owned another boat, a 52-foot boat called the Progress.
Oh,
my dad.
Okay. When did your family get the mist?
That was 48 maybe. I'm thinking 1948, 40, it was in the 40s, so.
Okay, so you used to fish on the Progress, and then.
No, I was a little tight.
Okay.
I just remember the Progress was 52 foot and a little narrow boat. And low, and it was a sailing boat, and I was surprised to see it still around to this day, and somebody owns it, and I believe it comes from Ketchikan now.
No kidding.
And it was called the Progress, and I remember that because I always remember waking up in Chatham Cannery when we were offloading fish, and you could hear the fish chains, where they pitched the fish off onto the chains. And you could hear clunkety clunk, and I was sleeping as a boy and waking up and looking out the porthole and seeing them going up on that chain. They were pitching the fish out.
Okay.
And it had an old engine, and I think it was an Atlas where you had to use a pry bar to start it.
Oh, okay.
In front on the flywheel.
Okay.
And my oldest brother, who was 3 years older than I was, used to have to oil the rocker arms.
Oh. Very basic. Yeah. Everything was
I always remember
exposed.
being scared watching those.
Probably with good reason. Wow.
Oh, yeah, Frank Kitka. Shallow draft brown, like.
So the Atlas was unusual in being shallow, or?
Yes, that was a shallow draft boat. Real shallow. 2 brothers. Yep, Peter Simpson.
Sure traveled nice. My dad used to say, watch the bow of the boat, and you can tell while the boat cutting the water or pushing the water.
Right. So in the SJS...
Yes, you can see she cuts the water real beautifully. No waves in front, in other words.
Right. Okay.
That means you got a beautiful bottom on the boat. It doesn't
hydrodynamic.
Yes, because nowadays they go to, you can see her here too, how her waves go back. Nowadays the waves come almost even with the boat when they're running because your bottoms are too much like a tub. Instead of like this, they're like this.
Okay.
Here's the boat I was talking about. My dad rebuilt a few planks on it. Belonged to Davis. Excuse me.
Sure.
Hello?
Recording?
Yes.
I get those all the time.
Oh. Used to be belonged to the Herman Davis family, as I remember.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know Andrew owned that. I just thought. That might have been the old Progress, actually, before, you know. Because sure looks like it to me with the wheelhouse and the long deck and how narrow she is.
So that one you can actually read on the back. New England. Was that?
Yeah, that's a cold storage there. And there's the ice chute.
Oh, okay. It's a long ways to go.
They had 18-inch by, I think they were almost 4 feet by 8-foot chunks of ice, and they'd send them down the chute.
And they'd
get down to the crusher at the end of the dock, and then you'd hear it go, and then you'd have the flakes in your hole.
Okay. That makes sense. So they'd store them as big blocks. Okay.
Yes, it sure does look like the Progress, because your portholes, I remember. Here's her flying bridge. She used to have like all of them, canvas one. I didn't know that. Myrth, that's the other boat.
Oh, okay. That's like
WRJ
the WRJ
and Myrth, yes.
Okay.
And this belonged to Sabella, as I remembered. Rudy, I believe.
Yes, yeah. And I got a chance to talk to him about the...
Yeah. She had a cut off stern, and my dad used to say, watch out for those. They're no good in sea.
Oh, like a following?
Yes, and the following sea, it pushes you and you got no control versus a horseshoe. And he said, the waves will always go by you.
Okay.
And he used to always say, because I worked with him more than my other brothers. He used to always tell me that the deeper the draft, the stronger the storm. It can handle stronger storms than you can handle.
Okay.
You know, nowadays they build boats where they're 50-50, and that's what you got is 50-50 chance of making it or breaking it. Another versus three-quarter underwater and 1/4 on top. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. What's below the water?
Yes.
Like the older trollers.
Yes.
Like the trollers, are a lot of them are like that.
Yes, deeper draft. And that's good.
That was, I think it's either the Sophia or the Eros, but that was built by Adolph Thomsen for himself.
Yes, I knew him as a boy.
I knew the name. He had a son by the name of Jurgen.
Okay.
Now they live in Seattle, I understand. So, Von Blankenship knows them real well. Goes down and sees them.
Oh, okay.
No, Von. We all went to school almost at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Yep, the Neva. I remember that. I went sailing that with my uncle.
Did you go sailing with whoever needed a hand, or?
Hi, honey.
Hi.
My wife, Liz.
Hi.
Oh, weather-wise for sailing, it was so much better. You know, you're way back, and when they started blowing the atomic bombs, then went to H-bombs. My dad used to say, man is fooling with the atmosphere too much is going to get all messed up. And it has, because I remember as a boy, and I'm sure my cousin Fred Hope remembers as a boy, is we almost swam from like middle of May through September down at the turnaround. And Liz, we swam, learned how to swim down there. And now we lived in that water. You know, so your weather-wise, yes, was so much greater. Is that what you were going to ask about sailing?
Yeah. So it was warm. You had good summers.
Yes.
When you were sailing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely changes.
I'll be darned. Before he even, I forgot he didn't have a plywood one on there. That's one Andrew Hope filmed. I don't remember that one.
I wonder if it didn't last very long, or you know what I mean. If it...
I remember that old boat. There's the boat I'm talking about. Now it has a horseshoe stern on it.
So that's the Jenny. So it was built as, it looks like a double ender?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Here's a Patricia I was talking about. Oh, Chuck and Ann. Yeah, and that belonged to, he used to own Bazaar.
Oh, Peterson.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, right.
Halibut.
So you were saying the Jenny is in Sitka now?
Yes.
Or at A&B Harbor?
It looks like it here.
Seeing it might not. See, that's the thing too. These are pictures. You know, here I hear about a boat.
This looks like
and then
more now like the.
Yeah.
You see the wheelhouse is midships, almost midships. And you can see her bow still laying back a little. And I'll bet you, if you looked at this picture and the Yota together, these would be the same boats.
No kidding. With those.
Because the Jenny that I see now, I've been aboard and the guy tells me, my dad built it as Alan Moran.
Okay.
And he's the one that owns the Jenny. And it is white like this. But it has, as I remember, it has a horseshoe stern.
Okay, because that might not be the same boat. I mean, that's a picture that's on the wall at the P-Bar, and it's a boat called the Jenny, and, you know, and so that might not be the the same one.
Because I remember before we were allowed to touch the planking on one of them, the guy seemed like he was a Finnish guy or Swede, wouldn't let us touch the planks until he was done painting with diesel oil for, I think it was 3 months before he would let us touch the plank in the wood.
Uh-huh.
It was for good reason. It preserves it.
Yeah.
And it still looks like the day, you built it. And I'm sure your fastenings, your bolts and nails and everything else are still in fine shape because of that.
So he would just keep saturating it?
Yes, he would restack it, and I remember smelling that diesel oil. But when you felt the wood, and when we got done with the woodwork on it, building it, and when he put the paint on it, you could see why. Mm-hmm. It brought out the highlights of everything. It's like a woman putting on lipstick in her face.
So it made the paint finish look better?
Yes, it made it shine. It was just beautiful when it got done. Huh. And so I've learned through that guy, and I try to tell guys that have wood boats, when you get it down to the wood, it won't hurt you to take a few days and just paint it over and over and over with diesel oil. Okay. That will help it. Some of them don't believe me. I said, it's your boat. You can do whatever you want. I said, it ain't mine. I said, it's mine.
Yeah.
I'd paint inside and outside. Uh-huh. So it smelled for a while.
Right.
Big deal. Last long time.
Yeah.
Oh, Paul Morgan. I knew him too.
All right.
When he built that. Geez, 1962. It was a pretty boat.
Yeah. That was sad too. It burned.
That's something I want to teach my grandson. What I know. I lost a sister off the bow of that.
Sister?
Fell off the bow of this when they were just about done and broke her neck. Sister by the name of Annie.
Wow.
So some people always looked at it like bad luck.
Yeah. Well, that's so horrible. I mean, that's that must have just. I can't even imagine. I mean, for your parents.
I was young, and you don't quite collect everything when you're young.
No, and you don't have that. I guess it must have been devastating to your parents.
Yep, there's his canvas on it. I think, isn't it? I can't see it out.
Yeah, it's not a very good photo. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like it's just canvas over metal.
Put on a plywood one. Oh. Well, this has been very interesting.
So your mother had 16 children?
Mm-hmm. Oh. Some died early age. I can't remember what all of it is. Could have been tuberculosis because my younger brother Louis had it. He got well because my mom used to make me go out and get medicine for him.
Oh, what kind of medicine? Just drugstore?
Wilderness.
Really?
Yeah.
Must have worked.
Your Hudson Bay tea, for one.
Okay.
one of the muskegs here,
Mm.
is one. And they used to have to get some roots from around the rock cliffs and go get some devil's club and a few stalks of that.
Mm.
And my mother would boil it all together. I never watched how the portions were.
Right.
But makes a pretty potent medication.
Sure.
And that's what cured my brother in 3 months. Yeah, so he was drinking
great.
a gallon a day of that stuff. But he'd disappear out amongst the islands. And he was in his sophomore year when they had to let him go out of school because he'd contaminated other kids then.
Right.
So it tore him up pretty bad. And he lived out on the islands in the spring and summer, getting well. 3 months' time, he went back to the doctors and they pronounced him 100% cured and
Wow.
made him feel good. And then to this day, he's still healthy as a horse.
No problems.
Yeah.
That's great. Wow. Yeah, I will think of a whole bunch more things to ask you. As soon as I'm walking home. But
Do you need a ride anywhere? Can we give you a ride?
No, I'm just going downtown. Yeah, this is great. Yeah, this is really interesting, and I can borrow this photo.
Yes, you can. I showed that to Jerry. You can.
All right. Yeah.
And yes, you sure can.
And then I put together. This was like it was 20 years ago, actually more. It was 1988, and I interviewed people and read out. And you can have that.
Oh, thank you.
It's
Thank you very much.
And I tried to have it checked over by the people I interviewed, but I'm sure there's still things that are, off or.
Yes.
So if
a lot of, you're right, history.
Pardon me?
A lot of history is not remembered, because I also used to talk a lot to Beamy Frederickson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he was a good guy to always get information out of. Thank you very much.